comes across is, excuse me, one of those kind of general spiritual truths that's universal is that we all come from the same source, and that as a result, we're all connected. And every religious or spiritual system will talk about this in various degrees, some, of course, more than others. So, that being said, I have a very strong value of spiritual truths being manifested into action, manifested into symbols, into rituals, into teachings, things like that. That we can't just have these like ethereal spiritual values and have these like spiritual truths and not do anything with them. That just kind of leaves them dead and cold. And things should be living, and the way things stay living and vibrant and you know and relevant is by giving life to them through action. So I very much personally like to express the spiritual truth we're all connected, through, of course, like giving to the community, through teaching, things like that, but also being connected to nature. I think regardless of what your personal practice is, whether it's more devotional and polytheistic, more connected to the earth, more pantheistic, more animist, whatever it is, we all live on the same planet and we're connected. Shall we say, the manifestation of that truth of that we're all connected goes directly into principles of like ecology and environmentalism and things like that, so that our connection to the earth and the way we relate to the earth is, of course, connected to how we relate to each other spiritually, and everything's all interrelated, and that's kind of like the cool thing. And that's for me personally, that's kind of the really cool thing about studying all these different systems and meeting so many different people, is just seeing how we all manifest that truth in different ways. I really do think that our essential natures are reflections of spirit, because we all come from spirit at the end of the day, when we all return to spirit one way or another. So I think the only reason that we're all not just out here dancing in happy pagan land, in 24/7 pagan spirit gathering world, is that we all have trauma. I mean, it sounds very cliche, but hurt people. And back in the day somewhere, somebody hurt somebody, and that person got hurt and had trauma, and they hurt someone else, and they hurt others, and it's just this whole ripple effect of pain and frustration and negativity. So I think, that being said, we also have a responsibility as magical practitioners, as occultists, witches, pagans, etc., to be the philosopher's stone, to take our own pain and have responsibility for our own pain. So we're not just a hurt person hurting others, and we can all go. I mean, and I've done it too, so I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm calling myself out. There are certain people that are just professional victims. Okay. That no matter what you do, they're going to be a professional victim. And I've been there, so I'm not trying to call anyone out specifically. But there just comes a point where you have to say, I have to take responsibility for my own pain, and I have to put it through either a process of healing, of alchemy, whether that's spiritual work, meditation, therapy, being inpatient in a facility. I don't care. I don't know. It's not, your path is your own, but we have to reach a certain point. We have to take responsibility for our pain, and quit polluting the collective pool that we're a part of, and actually from that pain use that as a launching point to use our personal growth as a launching point for making positive change in the world. So instead of making negative ripples and our actions ripple out negatively, it's creating positive ones instead. And ideally, and I think this wholeheartedly, that everyone eventually will put in more positive ripples and negative ripples.
Well, my friend Wayne says that with ripple effects, what we do today, the choices we make today, affect the next 7 generations. And as a society today, we've been taught, we're trying to teach people that you have to feel good all the time, and that's not necessarily so. So I think, what we need to understand is we're human, and it's okay to not be happy all the time. But it's what you do with that, how you fix it, like you said. And we're not teaching the coping strategies and skills that we need to get us through these moments. We're like brushing it aside and putting up these facades or masks, as they like to say, that we're happy all the time, and
Right.
that's not realistic.
Right. Absolutely.
And I know it's not it's not biblical, but something that I heard growing up Pentecostal a lot, it was probably a Christian commentary or a Christian apologist that said faith without works is dead. If you're not doing the work, there's no point in the faith that you profess. Rosemary said, the world has become hardened by media, hatred, racial, political, religious, pitting one against the other.
Sure.
And that, again, could be a whole another podcast. But,
Sure.
when you are a spiritual practitioner and you're peeling away those layers of the onion, I think that comes up because as we eliminate the illusion of separation and the illusion of lack, we realize that those are just tools and smoke and mirrors that are put there by the powers that be, so that we don't look to them and demand answers and demand resources that they are hoarding while others suffer and go without. But again, a whole nother podcast. And we could talk about that all night. So Kathy also said, Joanne, this is why I no longer give to Goodwill. Again, another podcast topic. I find a thrift store that the money goes directly back into the community. And unfortunately, that is a reality, is that is actually a business. It's not a charity. And they employ special needs people who they don't pay adequately to work at the stores. But that, again, topic for...
I was just shocked, though, that, your badge is Goodwill, and you're not going to help a homeless person that has no shoes. And then it showed, because the officer had his body cam on, and it showed that the other woman going, oh, is she the one that has this sign? And is she the one, this and that? And it was like, it was just horrible. I'm like, and the cop is like, no, this is like this, other person. And, and the other woman's like rolling her eyes. And I'm like, hello, like, really? Think about the name that you're wearing, Goodwill. I was horrified. I was horrified.
Sure. Yeah. A younger Mark, if I had heard that story, I swear to you, like, I was very brash in my youth. And thank God, like, at least a couple of my friends from back then are dead, so they can't like spread all the crazy stories about me. Thank the God. But not that I'm glad they're dead, but I'm joking. But a younger me, I literally would have dressed as Jesus, sandals, robe, and everything, and I would have gone there and I would overturn their tables like the Pharisees in the Bible, and I would like, this is no longer a house of God.
No, and kudos to the cop for posting it,
But instead,
his body cam footage. I thought that was pretty brave, especially the way cops are looked at today, and it was it was really interesting. Here are the people that probably are the ones chastising the police, and they're not even willing to help a person. And that's pretty sad.
It is. It's very sad. I think actually, and I want to thank Kathy for that comment, because I have actually, so you guys, probably everyone doesn't know this about me, but I am a huge planner. So, I have spreadsheet after spreadsheet. I come from a sales and marketing background, and so I'm used to like spreadsheets and flow charts and, contact, databases and all that sort of thing. So I personally have like a 10-year plan to write probably about 100 books in 10 years. So no big deal. That's easy. But the hard stuff is I actually have these plans for the Invisible College as well, and for another nonprofit that I'll kind of let that be released on another podcast. That's not just for pagans, but it's more far-reaching. But the one that's for more pagan and occult communities is the Invisible College, and I think what I'm going to do is I already planned on doing a food pantry, but I think I'm going to add in on my list based on Kathy's anecdote, I think eventually I'll add a thrift store to that. So
that's such an awesome idea. And when we talk about the health of our communities, it's not just that spiritual well-being, but it's the physical well-being. If somebody is wondering where they're going to get their next meal, they can't contemplate their connection to the tree in the backyard.
Right. I mean, that's just like psychology 101, if anyone's ever taken psych or sociology or any social science whatsoever. There's Abraham Maslow, and there's this pyramid, this hierarchy of needs, and at the bottom end, at the foundation of the pyramid, is your physical needs, food, shelter, warmth, etc. But if you can't meet those physical needs, you can't go to emotional needs. You can't go to having healthy ego, healthy self-esteem, healthy loving relationships, and then you can't go to like self-actualization at the top of the pyramid. So I think, and that's the whole thing. I mean, and wow, how much time do I have?
We're already over, so we tend
okay. I'll talk about this some other time. Bring me. Tell you what, bring me on in about 6 months, and I'm gonna have some or maybe even a year, and I'll have some mind-blowing stuff that actually talks about that.
Okay, Joanne, you have to put that on the spreadsheet.
I see what you did there.
But, he knows how I feel about spreadsheets. I come from the corporate world too, and I hated spreadsheets and things like that tremendously. I did get myself a planner though, where I can write things in, and make our lives a little easier.
I was okay until the formula wouldn't work inside the cell. Then I was bring back the paper ledger.
Listen, you add math to anything and I'm out. I'm like, oh, his formula. I'm like, what the heck? Can't I just type it in the square?
Right.
My spreadsheets have spreadsheets. That's how bad I am.
Oh wow.
So Mark, we really hit on a lot of subjects tonight, but tell us where our listeners can find you on social media and can keep up with the work that you're doing.
And where we can get your book.
Okay. So the easiest thing you could do is go to my website, marknickampjr.com. So literally it's my name, Mark Nickamp Jr., all one word.com. So if you click on the books tab that talks about where you can buy my book, you can of course get my book at Amazon, even better than that, Barnes & Noble, even better than that, talk to your local pagan store or metaphysical shop and say, hey, I want you to carry Mark's book. And I actually, on the books tab of my website, I talk about the different wholesalers that my book is available through. So, and if you go to your local pagan shop and they have any problems, literally shoot me an email and I'll help you out. So all my social media stuff is that. I mean, typically I branded everything from Instagram and TikTok to Mark Nickamp Jr. So if you go to at Mark Nickamp Jr. or Mark Nickamp Jr., whatever social media thing you're at, you'll find me pretty easily. But if you go to my website, all my socials are at the footer at the bottom of the website. So I'm pretty easy to find. My personal email is mark.robert.nickamp@gmail.com. That goes right to my phone. You can email me at any time. Facebook messages, Instagram messages, I'll respond to. There's a form through the website. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. You can't get a hold of me if you want to. It's kind of on you. I mean, I think at one point even have my cell phone number on there, and I'll probably put it back on there just so people can call me in case there's emergencies. Because
I did that before.
I'm very happy you found me. And
it's fine. I'll give you a 30-second thought. So I was talking to Oberon, and Oberon was like, hey, Mark, I got someone who might need your help. I'm like, yeah, okay, pass them on, whatever. And I said, I referred him to my website, and I had my cell phone number on the website. And this is why I say stuff at 3 a.m, the witching hour, right? This guy called me at 3 a.m. in this very thick accent, and he was like, Wizard Mark, I need your help. It's an emergency. I need it right now. And it's this whole thing. How his sister was possessed, and he might have been possessed. And honestly, there might have been a little bit of a spiritual problem, but it was 90%. Both of them needed to go to therapy, to be quite honest. And then I talked to Oberon, and I was like, Oberon Oz. I'm like, dude, why'd you refer this dude to me? He's like, well, I thought you'd be the right person to handle it. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, but it was funny as hell. But yeah, I'm very easy to get a hold of. And and if you go under my website under the books tab, um, I think I even put it. I forgot where it's on there. If you just go to my website, you'll find it. I'm doing book clubs. So I'm doing an author-led book club. First one starting next month, and then another one will start like 3 months later. And it's on like the background of my social media too. But I'm basically going through my book chapter by chapter, so to answer any questions and help people through the exercises if they have problems. So once again, I'm literally the most accessible pagan author on the planet, and I've done that on purpose. I know that sounds crazy, and I know other people like, Mark, you need to have stronger boundaries. And look, you just talked about how you're raised with shitty boundaries. Don't you think you should have some better boundaries than talking to the general public? Well, you know what? Magic is for everybody. And if you go on my website, and there's a thing on services, and I do exorcisms, I dehauntify houses, and I do that for free. Okay, and everyone's like, "Wow, why are you doing it for free?" Because literally, the people that need the most spiritual help are almost always the poorest, almost always. So I try to be accessible. I try to break these socioeconomic barriers, and I just want to do some good stuff, and kind of have some fun doing it, make some friends.
Yeah, I do that a lot too with my with at-risk youth. I'm always open to them and to help and to help my community that way. And anybody that's in crisis, whether you be a first responder, a regular, typical daily human being, or
Sure.
An at-risk youth, I definitely that's what Joyful Empowerment's all about, and we can talk about your college on that show.
So tonight, we had talked about some different meditations that we've done in the past, and tonight we want to close because we are over. So we're going to close with our meditation. But tonight, I have a meditation prepared about awareness of what we like about ourselves and coming to love ourselves. So we're going to close with that. Thank you, Mark, for joining us tonight and sharing.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Your wisdom. And Joanne, as always, I love you.
I love you more.
You for joining me tonight. Rosemary and Kathy, of course, said that they enjoyed the show tonight as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I am going to take us off screen, and we will do.
And Mark, don't forget to stay on so we can thank you properly.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so if I do this.
Thank you, Regina.
Oh,
maybe. And technical difficulties as usual, but we will get it. Share. Are we doing it? Yes, we are. As witches, it's important to practice self-love, care, and mindfulness. This meditation can help you do just that. During your practice, you will tune into your thoughts and patterns of self-talk, moving towards a more positive relationship with yourself. Begin by finding a comfortable seat and closing your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, focusing on the sensation of the breath moving in and out of the body. Allow yourself time to settle. For the first few minutes, settle more into your being and ground your thoughts by focusing on your breath. Whenever the mind begins to drift, simply and calmly bring the focus back to breathing. Next, shift your awareness to your body. Focus on what you might like about it. You might find appreciation for your breathtaking eyes, your elegant posture, or the strength of your muscles. Hold these aspects in your thought for a few moments and let the moment of just appreciating be a gift. Now focus on the beautiful gift that is your brain and embrace emotional experience. Reflect, honor, and adore the creative process of your mind to see all that you have achieved, and give time to recognizing the unique qualities that make you the beautiful witch that you are. Comfortably embrace these emotive thoughts, holding them for another moment or two to breathe and appreciate your recognition. The following few moments is dedicated to recognizing your senses. Shift your attention to each of the 5 senses. First, your sense of smell. Breathe in deeply and reflect on something that smells wonderful, like the aroma of baked bread or the essence of a rose. Allow your thoughts to wander, focusing on the beauty the sense of smell brings to you in your practice. Now let's take a moment to appreciate our sense of taste. Think of your favorite food, how it brings a smile to your face when you get to indulge in this treat to yourself. Again, allow your thoughts on the taste of food to wander and really sense the emotions of joy and happiness that having your favorite food brings to you. Move on to the sense of touch and think about how the sense of touch has allowed you to feel the comfort of a hug from a loved one. Fully sink into the way it feels to be surrounded by the comfort of that hug. Consider the emotional grounding that can come from your sense of touch. Now consider your sense of hearing. This sense makes it possible to hear the voice of a loved one who in your life brings you a feeling of home when you hear their voice. Perhaps it's your mom, your significant other, or even your child. Just sit with this for a moment or two. Continue to breathe deeply as we visit our last sense, that of sight. Allow your mind to wander again to a sunset, a sunrise, or even the sight of a full moon. Think of the excitement that seeing this moment brings to you, even driving you to want to capture that moment by taking a picture with a camera or your phone. So much joy that you want to save that moment for later as a reminder, or even to share with others. As you come to the end of this practice, take a few deep breaths and allow yourself to embrace a sense of gratitude and positivity. Gratitude for your senses that allow you to experience the world around you. Remind yourself that you are beautiful, you are precious, and worthy of being appreciated. Carry this energy throughout the rest of your day, along with your witchcraft practice that underscores the worth in all that you do.
Welcome, everybody, to another Lone Wolf Show. I'm the Lone Wolf, and you're watching www.witchcrafttv.online. And I got a musician in the background, and we got a lot of things in common, right? And this is one of those stories where it becomes very inspirational, and that when you start reaching your highest ideals, and remember, we are a fair representation of all pagan, witch, and magic paths. And one of the things that I've noticed with this particular guest is that he definitely walks a magic path. And there's a little bit of footage and pictures and a little bit of explanations, but we're going to get to know him right now. And I want to let you know about his name too. He's also a Carter, and I'm thinking that, but he got D'Angelo Bailey up on there, but it does say like you a Carter though, ain't you a Carter?
Yeah, I'm definitely a Carter, man. My you know me, what's up? What's going on, man? Shout out to the whole family, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what it is. Yeah, you know, my last name is Carter, but you know, D'Angelo Bailey, that's my that's my alias for, you know, my music, you know what I'm saying? That's why I go by, that's what everybody know me by. So today I'm giving you D'Angelo Bailey.
So what I wanted to talk about is that, like, as far as like everybody in the witchcraft, everybody in the pagan community, everybody in the magical community knows that myself, and this ain't about me, it's about you. But everybody knows that I've walked a path where, you know, I suffered in recidivism. I suffered through that back and forth, you know, incarceration type joint. And
right.
I've been out 4 years. So when I see somebody else in the community, you know what I'm saying, that's walking a path similar to mine, I got to lift them up. I got to know about them. Tell me about yourself. And right off the rip, did you use witchcraft or magic to ultimately become free? Like, how did this work out?
I like how you worded that. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It changed my life. There was a lot, you know, I was struggling with drug addiction. I was struggling with depression. I was suicidal. You know, I had very low confidence, and you know, that had a lot to do with you know, people messing with my energy and me not really being fully aware of how that played a factor in my life. So, you know, I don't know if that answers your question in its entirety, but that's kind of how I became quote unquote free, even though I was incarcerated. That's when I became or started the process of freeing myself.
Right. I can remember like back in the day, I was in the Florida Department of Corrections, and I was down there to this joint called Appalachia Correctional, and I was walking the yard, and somebody come up to me and says, "Hey man, you know, if you into that witchcraft and that magic stuff, how come you not free? Like, why are you still in jail?" And I was just
right.
And at the time I was kind of like, well, you know, first of all, I got to deal with my karma. You know, I got to pay my debts and all that. But at the end, at the end of the day, and at the end of the game, witchcraft really is what made me become free. Like I did escape, you know what I'm saying? Because we have this recidivism with going back and forth. And that's what I really like to target and talk about, man, is that when people go in and out of like the belly of the beast, it's an ongoing cycle. People don't make it out here. The statistics are against you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, and they say like the first year, like I think it's like 85% go back to jail within like the first year or some joke or stuff like that. And anytime I can empower that where that doesn't happen, and anytime I can like tap into somebody that's using the craft or magic or, you know, whatever spirituality you're into. What kind of books did you read when you was educating yourself, like in the belly of the beast? Because I know that, you know, that's what we do when we're locked up. We do nothing but expand our minds, and we try to be better than we were. And I really like, I really like when people start reaching their highest ideals. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like however way that you walked your path, it's helping you now. What kind of stuff were you reading? Who was mentoring you? What were you into when you were incarcerated?
You know what? For me, it was interesting because I really started down this path probably in, what was it, 2000 and what was that, 17, probably like 2017. And the first book I read, believe it or not, was the Satanic Bible. And then from the yes, sir. And then from the Satanic Bible, I dove into the Book of Spells. I don't remember exactly what the author was. And then I also had studied Scientology. So for me, I felt like knowledge is power. I kind of wanted to know a little bit of everything. I studied some theosophy. You know, I also studied the initiates of the flame. So I just kind of wanted to be well-rounded because for me, it was important that I utilized or found what would work for me. So I kind of refer to it as like a spiritual gumbo. I took a little bit of everything, and you know, if it applied, I applied it. If it was something that I felt didn't fit, then you know, I just respected it and moved on. That's kind of what got me started. And then let's see, the last book that I read was the Enchantment Encumbered, which you know, is a Wiccan book, because I liked a lot of the earthly qualities that they possess. I think that that's very important, you know. So I just kind of took a little bit of everything, man, and I just called it my spiritual gumbo.
Spiritual gumbo, I like that. So where are you at in the United States right now? Where are you at in the States?
Currently in Phoenix, Arizona.
You're in Arizona? That's what's up.
Yeah.
Did you do time out there in Arizona?
Yeah, I did time in Yuma State Complex. You know what I'm saying? I was on I was locked up in Cibola. I was locked up at La Paz. I did time at Cheyenne. You know, so shout out to all my brothers out there, man, that's still locked up, still incarcerated. But yeah, that's where I did my time. It gave me 4.5 years. I did 85% of my time. And my charges that got me sent to prison was robbery.
Right. And I think Arizona's that one of those states where like they have like compounds where they put you in the desert and put you in like all pink and stuff.
Well, we don't know. You talking about Sheriff Joe Powell. No, we don't wear pink anymore, but you're definitely going to be in the desert. And if anybody knows anything about Arizona, it's a spiritual place in itself.
Yeah.
So, you know, that had a lot to do with how I guess sped up my process, so to speak, because there was a lot of tests that I had to endure, a lot of things that I had to go through, which made me seek a lot of knowledge a lot faster because there was a lot of magical things taking place, and I was able to tap into that, and that's how I was able to kind of, I guess, speed up the process, so to speak. It just made it easier for me to acknowledge that there was more to life than what I was originally taught.
Mm-hmm. So right off rip, this is what made me notice you out here in the world, on social media and all this stuff. You posted some pictures about this is how I used to do it when I was incarcerated, and I'm gonna throw up these pictures right now. And these are just some of the things that you were doing, and they're utilizing what you had available as tools to extend your mind, basically, because we know that like the greatest magic tool is the mind. I mean, we get that, but it's really fascinating to see what was available to you. So, I mean, you got stones. You're in Arizona, so you got access to all these stones. You're using playing cards, and tarot cards. Tarot cards come to play. Like before there was playing cards, there was tarot cards. Like that's the whole thing. So like it's really cool. I'm gonna show a couple more of these pictures real quick. And we had these things now. Now we got nothing but time in there. So it's like you grabbed all these things, just to get right and to focus. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And we got there's another video clip. I'm going to play the video clip that you had sent. It's playing in the background, but We're taking up. So I'm gonna play the little clip, and then I'm gonna ask you what is really going on here with what was you doing? Because when we're talking about like the craft and witchcraft, like I interview like some of the biggest names in the world, and I'm also a seeker too. And I'm not nobody special. I'm just like you, bro. I came from the belly of the beast, except I got out 4 years ago. I embraced my earth-based spirituality, my form of spirituality, and it has kept me free from that belly of the beast, from those chains. Like I did like 15 years in and out at different state prisons around the country. So like I was saying early in the interview, like when I see somebody else that's utilizing spirituality, and particularly magic, because Witchcraft TV is all about representation of all paths of magic, of witchcraft, in different, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to try to find that video. Where's that video at? Here we go. Let's see if we can't play it. Why ain't it playing? It ain't playing for me. We froze up. Let me see. I'm trying to bring this video on here. I don't know why it's not showing for me. There it is. Let me see. All right, so we're gonna come back. What was going on? Like what were you doing? Like, tell me about that.
Okay, so the way that I utilize magic is a little bit different, I guess, in the traditional sense. Like I said, I just kind of took what felt right to me. I'm very big on like what feels right to me,
Right.
I've always been that way. I've always been a little different. So the best way I can explain it to you is when I was growing up in school, everybody had Jordans. So because everybody had Jordans on, I had to wear a pair of Adidas because I like to be my own person. So I was basically at that point trying to get the attention of the entity that I utilize in my spell work, which is Frymos, from the lesser keys, which is part of ceremonial magic. And so that's just kind of a way to see, if he's aligning or, if he's tapping in with me, so to speak. If you continue the video, you'll see that some things got to moving around there. And so, it's just one of those things that I utilize to make sure that, I'm on the right path.
And you're also a lyricist. You're a rapper. Like, you do music. I've seen a couple of your joints out there with some of your partners, and the shit is kind of dope. And I know that I asked you off camera, like, are you gonna make any songs that have to do with magic? Are you gonna have any songs that are pagan oriented? Or like, because I seen your post where you're talking about, and this is what I used to do. This is my spirituality. This is how I coped. Are you gonna come out here and use that same art within your music? Is I guess what I'm asking.
Okay, so to answer your question, quite honestly, all of my music is based off of the craft. And what I mean by that is I believe that your voice is the magical keys to unlock anything in the universe. And so therefore for me, I always center myself around making sure that my lyricist capabilities is manifested in a way that reflects the craft. I'm kind of like, the best way I can explain it to you, I don't really know any other artists that I'm similar to other than Kendrick Lamar, where a lot of it is you would have to really listen to it a couple more times. And the fact that I've only been out a little bit over 40 days, so I need some visuals to kind of help paint the picture, but a lot of my music is rooted in the craft, you know, and so that's the beauty of it. I just don't really. I try not to focus too much on the, I guess, the darker aspects of it. I respect it, you know, and I feel like it's necessary as well. But for me, the creativity is definitely, you know, something that I root in my craft, because once again, my songs are tailored to, you know, how I want to move in the universe, how I want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Manifest things in my life. You know, and some of these songs are literally protection spells. Some of these songs, you know, I'm actually summoning, you know, entities to work with. So, you know, I'm definitely utilizing the craft. It's just I have a crafty way of going about, you know, saying it.
Right. And I definitely agree with that, because creation is like the biggest magic of them all. Anybody that's creating things is having magic. So creation is like the best magic. Music is the best magic.
Yes,
I feel like inspiration is the best magic. Now, I didn't know how long you've been out, you know, of the penal institutions. I didn't really know that. 40 days. I mean, okay,
well, let's see. So today I got out January 7th, 2025. Okay. And what's today? The 23rd, I believe.
Yeah, February 23rd.
So, you know, I'm not a mathematician, but do the math. You know, so like I'm on fire, man. I got out. I got out. You know what I mean? I just been in the studio recording. You know, and you know now I'm here and we're linking up, and obviously, you know, other people are going to tap into this as well. And so, you know, I'm just doing me, man. I'm just doing me. I'm being transparent. I do. Okay, it's like this. I'm gonna be honest. Like a lot of people, you know, they tell me like, "Oh man, I don't know why you getting involved with witchcraft, man. I don't know what you know." I'm like, you know, I'm gonna pray for you. Like I don't know, you know, I don't know what got into you, and do you know what that comes with, and this, that, and the third. And like I keep trying to explain to people, like, hey, this is what saved my life. You know, this is what helped me to become what they call in this day and age woke.
Right.
You know, because regardless of the craft, what people have to realize is we're all like X-Men. We all have spiritual powers. It's up to you what you decide to do with your powers, you know? And so I utilize mine to the likings of my lifestyle, but I also realize and I believe that you can't affect free will. You know, so I'm not big on manipulating people. That's not really what I'm here for. You know, I'm just trying to reach those that need to be reached, and this is the channel and the portal that I'm using.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like 40 days is like basically a month and a half. Like a month and a half is like, man, I just feel like, yo, if anything comes up, like you need anybody to talk to, like you need like support in any kind of magical way from anybody in like the pagan community, the witchcraft community, esoteric community. I'm talking like
right.
The ceremonial magic community, you know, anybody at all. And, you know, to get rid of that recidivism shit, because I just want to tell you, like, I just feel like you high risk. Like I want you on the team, because when we start embracing that, when we start embracing this spirituality like that, when people meet us, they say, "Oh, you're such and such." Well, you know, you endure these kind of things, and it's not really into like what everybody else does. Like I already know that you're not sheeple. Like I already know that. I just feel like if there's anything that I can do, like for you, like support system wise, like I want to help. And yeah, I didn't know that you were fresh out like that. So what's going on with you right now? I do see you're in the recording studio. I see you having a lot of fun. The music sounds really good. The music sounds dope, right? I just, you know, I just really feel like, because I know in our community, like there's enough that and well, in the witchcraft community, there's like pagan rappers, and there's all kinds of like ill rappers all around the spectrum. But in the fold itself, we had a Carillion rapper by the name of Cloud, the pagan rapper, right? And nobody else is really doing like witchcraft, like magical, like hip hop like that. And me and Buddy were doing that, and we decided that we wanted to try to make it positive, because when we infuse music with like spirituality, and spirituality is what ultimately like is moving us, we just wanted to keep it positive. That way we weren't being like muddy or like just like rude or coy, you know, particularly with me, because I'm from the chain gang. Like I did mad times. Like I got tattoo tears, all that. Like I was tired of it.
Right. You did that. Yeah, you did that.
I'm still tired of it. But you know, occultic law suggests like attracts like. That's why I was like, you know, dude is posting how he used to, you know, do certain things like in the chain gang and all this. And I think what's going to be important is like what's going on now. Like you have access to a lot more than just what you find out in the yard with everything. Like you have access to so much more, like information and avenues. And at the end of the day, I really want to see you reach your highest ideals, man. And
right,
no doubt. Because if you can reach your highest ideals, you know, and not go back to that recidivism and all that. Because I know, first of all, you're dope. Your music's dope. You got talent. I like that. I like, you know, what you stand for and everything. I just don't want to see you go back into that fold. I just want you to come to the fold. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just want you to. I just want to empower other folks of a like mind. I think that's what it boils down to. Is just like attracts like.
Right.
What have been your biggest hurdles? Like when you got out, I know some folks like from like your past, like when you doing what you do with Skippy Woo is like, yo, you out, everything's cool. And I know damn right that they ain't writing, you know, letters or keep it real in your books and nothing like that. But they're like, yo, what's up with it? What's been your biggest hurdles and how can I say hardship since you've been out now?
You know what, man? That's a great question, bro. I love your energy too. You got good energy, man. You know what I'm saying? First off, shout out to my Hustle God family. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my chosen ones. Y'all know what time it is, man. I'm trying to lead the way for us. So honestly, bro, to answer your question, everything is good. Everything is great. You know what I mean? Because I see when I was down, man, I was manifesting certain things, and so. You know, it's just lining up the way that it's supposed to line up, to be completely honest with you. You know, as far as like people from our past, you know, I mean, people from the past, all they really have is what they remember from the past. So, you know, I can't really blame them for where they might be. I know they might be a little bit shocked, you know, because like when you see somebody, and at the time, like I said, I was deep into my drug addiction. You know what I'm saying? I was lost. You know what I mean? I wasn't winning the battle. I was losing the battle spiritually, you know, because I wasn't aware of what was really going on in my life. And so, you know, once I got out of prison, I just kind of put that behind me, man. It's a couple people I reached out to, but I'm so present in the now that I really don't focus on the past, and I don't focus on the future. I don't know how else I can explain that to you, bro. I'm just in this conversation with you now, and I'm just moving forward. You know, the only